discipline is such an important piece of parenting. We get so many questions from the parents that we work with on how to guide and direct and raise children who can grow up to be healthy and thriving adults. And that is such an important part. But here at Epic, we really want to challenge you that when it comes to discipline, that we look at it in a new way, that we have a relationship focus even when we're entering discipline. Our goal as parents is to raise children who, at the end of it, still know that we love them, even when discipline is required. Three of our main principles here at Discipline when we're looking at a relationship-focused approach is, number one, that correction should always end in connection. So yes, correction is important. We have to correct those behaviors that we see. We have to help our kids to thrive when they're with us and when they're not with us. We have to try and protect them from consequences. But we want our kids to know that at the end of discipline, the connection is still there with us, that him and I, we're always okay, even after correction. The second part is that we really want to empower our children to have a voice. And this can be really challenging based on how we were raised. I know for me, my parents didn't allow me to have a voice in discipline. That was not something that was part of my growing up. And so as I enter this with my own children, I have to really challenge my own lens. But we really want to empower our kids with a voice because they're not always going to be with us. We want them to be able to negotiate their needs as they grow older, and we're not there to make those decisions for them. We want to empower them to know how to make the right choices, whether we're there for them or not. And then the third one is that we really want nurture and structure to be in balance. And again, this can be challenging. Some of us, structure comes really easy for us, but nurture is hard. And so we have to look at both areas. Dr. Karen Purvis from TVRI explains nurture and structure as the 2 feet of discipline. So when you lead with nurture, you need to follow right behind with structure, or you'll topple over. And when you look at interacting with your child, you have to know what they need in that moment. Because if you lead with nurture when they need structure, then you impede their ability to grow. And if you lead with structure when they need nurture, you impede their ability to trust you. And so it's really important to know what they need in that moment. Again, this seals that relationship is the most important thing, even when we need to discipline. And so when we're looking at this new way, we're going to talk about a few of the strategies that we here at Epic want you to use in your parenting. The first one is that you want to just set really clear expectations in your house, right? You want to have that high structure so your family and your children know what to expect. And one of the ways to do this is to come up with some family rules together. I worked with a family who every Sunday night they would have a family meeting. And the first thing that they did in this family meeting is they came up with 3 to 5 family rules. We don't want to have too many. We don't want them to be too lengthy. We want them to be 2 or 3 words that can mean a lot. So one of these might be that we stick together, right? That can mean a lot of different things. In this family, we work together, we look out for each other, we're a team, right? So that can be one of the rules that can mean a lot of things, but it's something that we know is the foundation of our family. And this family, every Sunday night, they would go over their rules, they would talk about highs and lows, and then they would end that meeting with a fun family activity. And so this is a great way to, again, encourage relationship as you're talking about discipline, as you're creating an environment of structure. A next thing that we really encourage you to do is to use choices, right? As we talk about empowering our children to have a voice, part of that is that we share power with them, right? And so choices are a great way that at the end of it, we're still making a decision, but we're allowing them to be part of that. For me and my household, bedtime is really difficult. My kids are always asking for more time. And I know for us, 8 o'clock is bedtime. And so as we're coming up to bedtime, I can give my children choices, right? So I know 8 o'clock is bedtime, but hey, buddy, you can listen to 2 songs before you go to bed, or I can read you a story. We're still gonna go to bed at 8 o'clock, but those are your 2 choices. And so then we're sharing power, and one of those choices is relationship. And so then I'm encouraging my child to have an opportunity to choose relationship with me as well. And so you can use choices in all different areas. They can be really simple, but this is a way for our kids to learn how to negotiate their needs, to have voice, and we can share power in that relationship. And then this last idea is something that's called a time in. And this is really important, especially with our little ones. I know a lot of you have heard of a time out, but when we look at a time in, we look at our kids developmentally. When they become upset, when they choose a behavior that may not be what we want for them, sometimes they need help to calm down. And so our go-to may be to send them away into a timeout corner, into their room to calm down, but really what they need in that moment is they need us. They need help co-regulating their body and their emotions. And so there's this whole idea of time in. And so, hey, buddy, that behavior was not okay, but hey, come sit next to me and I'm gonna help you calm down. I'm gonna be here with you in this moment. And once you've calmed down, then we're gonna talk about what happened, right? And so what does that child learn through that? They learn that mommy is here for you, that even when you choose the wrong thing, you can sit with me. I'm gonna help you calm down. And in relationship, we're gonna figure out how to do things different. And so these are just a few ways that you can start to shift that lens as you're working with your children, as you're incorporating discipline in your family life. We know this is hard, right? This might be completely different than what you're used to. But again, our goal here at Epic is that we really want to gain the hearts of our children, right? We don't want to just focus on behaviors in that moment and changing those behaviors. We want our kids to choose to do what is right because they know that we love them no matter what. And whenever this is hard for me, I think about how Jesus shows up for me, even as an adult. When I get it wrong, he chooses relationship every single time with me. He is in the business of changing my heart, not just changing my behavior. And so when I can focus on that and the grace that I feel from him every day, it helps me to then show up in that way for my children.